What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Hulu's new miniseries, Dopesick. Hey, before you watch my review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I would like to say thank you to Hulu for granting me the screeners to this entire new miniseries. They've asked me to not spill spoilers, therefore this review is spoiler free. I repeat, there are no spoilers in this video review. There was a 4-hour documentary earlier this year called The Crime of the Century by the great filmmaker Alex Gibney that thoroughly chronicled this entire Purdue and opioid epidemic saga. But it's one thing to give you information and lectures and statistics, and it's another thing when you package them in a format that can connect with audiences on an emotional level. And so that's what Dopesick basically does. At the same time, Dopesick is also part detective show, an investigative caper going up against a well-oiled corruption machine. Featuring a stellar ensemble cast, Dopesick is a powerful, deeply moving drama that strikes at the core of what's inherently wrong with our capitalist society. Executive produced by Danny Strong and based on Beth Macy's non-fiction book, Dopesick examines how one company triggered the worst drug epidemic in American history. The series takes you, the viewers, to the epicenter of America's struggle with opioid addiction, from the boardrooms of Big Pharma to a distressed Virginia mining community to the hallways of the DEA. Defying all the odds, heroes will emerge in an intense and thrilling ride to take down the craven corporate forces behind this national crisis and their allies. Starring Michael Keaton, Peter Sarsgaard, Michael Stuhlbarg, Will Poulter, Kaitlyn Dever, and Rosario Dawson. The time jump between past and present and in between can be a bit difficult to keep up with since this show does it so fast and so frequently. But I think I'd rather have this method as opposed to changing the color palette or changing the hairstyle or showing items that only exist in the 90s. So even though the story spans across several years, it's not too hung up on the aesthetics. These events all look like they could be happening within the same month. All of the characters are fascinating, and what's interesting is that some of them find themselves in a situation where they have to taste their own medicine. It's kind of like a karma that comes back around to bite you. Now, Rosario Dawson stands out to me because her character represents a discouraged law enforcement who at one point was gung-ho about fighting the good fight, but she got beaten down one too many times. Peter Sarsgaard and his detective partner represent the incoming set of eyes eager to do the same, and they are like a dog with a bone. But if they're not careful, if the system eats them alive, they might end up like Rosario Dawson as well. She's basically their future selves if their efforts remain fruitless. On the lead is Michael Keaton, who plays it straight as a doctor whose involvement with Oxycontin is not out of ill intention. Kaitlyn Dever gives a towering performance as a miner with a secret. Michael and Kaitlyn's dynamics comes off sincere and cathartic, juxtaposing that with Michael and Will Poulter's dynamics that goes in and out between, are they friends? Is he a father figure to him? Or is this just strictly business? Now, the actual Richard Sackler in real life may be considered a straight up villain, but the Richard Sackler portrayed by Michael Stuhlbarg is more complex. They wrote him out to be this guy who's under a lot of pressure to prove himself. His ambition comes from a place of wanting to show everybody in his cocktail circles that he too can do it. I'm not sure if that is sufficient enough to generate some level of empathy, but Michael Stuhlbarg is brilliantly able to make us question how much blame should we really put on Richard. These episodes are very meticulous at letting you in on the process, from the conception of the idea to the sales marketing manipulation to the courtroom trial. All of the arguments from both sides are placed on the table. But keep in mind that this is not some heroin coming from Colombia. These are legal pills. Underscore the word legal, which makes the case incredibly intricate. But the one thing that Dopesick emphasizes over and over again is the human cost. That this whole debacle is at the expense of regular poor working folks who just want to get by. If watching this miniseries makes you feel sad and disheartened, I don't blame you. Opioid epidemic has taken so many lives, and so many families have suffered greatly because of it. And the story of Purdue is the story of America, unfortunately. Corporations, including Big Pharma, buy off our politicians and run our country through revolving doors. So it's natural to feel like this is an unwinnable battle with no end in sight. But Dopesick also goes to show that there are a few genuinely good people willing to stand up for those who can't fend for themselves. And so sometimes those few good people are all the margin of difference that we need to gain some semblance of justice.